Hello everybody, good evening and welcome. It is Sunday evening and that means it's time to wrap up Misfits Racing League action here. This week we've been taking to Brazil, and obviously to round it all out we have the Formula 2 community race, or races I should say, a feature race followed by a sprint race, both 50% running distance, and of course one shot qualifying to decide that initial grid. Joining me this evening for, I believe, the second time for F2, if not the third, Mr. JA Games. JA, how are you doing today?
I'm doing very well, Unicorn. It's Brazil, been a wonderful week here for MRL, and we're going to finish it off with a flourish with F2, I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely. It has been one with a lot of action, a lot of drama. Just today, we saw some drama. 15 turns here in APAC Division. Earlier, there was a lot of unique scenarios that came out of that one. But here in F2, obviously, completely different kettle of fish when it's the smaller, slower cars. Here in F2, there's a little bit more opportunity to go side by side, and that might open up Sector 2 here. Sector 2 in an F1 car, very tricky to go side by side in. As soon as you get to turn 6, one person usually well advised to back out of that one. But, well, here in F2, you might be able to go side by side through there, into 7 and into the braking zone of 8. Turn 9 as well, coming out of that, you can go side by side if you're feeling it a little bit risky in a Formula 1 car. This could be opened up here by the fact that we have the smaller cars and the slower cars. They're a little bit tricky to control at times. We've seen a few slips and spins here and around the tracks throughout the season, but we'll see what the drivers are capable of producing today. Like I said, 2 50% races. Weather is set to dynamic. We haven't seen too much rain throughout the week. We've seen it here and there, but I wonder whether F2 will be the lucky or unlucky ones, depending on who you ask. Let's get the roll of the dice in favor of the rain, but we'll just have to wait and see. We should be getting ready in just a moment. We've got 19 drivers, 20 drivers now in the lobby, which is what we love to see. I'd say a full good, but technically you can have more than 20 drivers here in Formula 2. And I think we've done that on one single occasion where we had 21 drivers. But I think we are just about ready to get going. Jay, before we get into things, any predictions?
Not to take the easy option, but obviously Brainstew has been very commanding in the last couple of races, so you have to put the Italian at the top of the list. Obviously, his battle with Maka for the title is still ongoing, so he's my pick. But obviously, like I say, a lot can happen here. There's probably a lot more overtaking spaces, like you mentioned. You go slightly longer braking distances, cars that are much more lively at the rear. So, Domi, maybe even Noel, throw an upset in, stress racing. You just don't know. Anyone can win. Even I've won an F2 race.
Well, you mentioned it, touched on it there. Brainstew currently leading the championship here. He's 25 points clear of Maka. Technically, he can clinch it this evening. There are 48 points available in a race weekend. We are now getting everyone readied up here, but that is, the title fight between those two. They are quite well and truly clear of the next closest rival, who I do believe is Backrow in third place. Eric is well in fourth. But they've been locked in head-to-head combat throughout the season. Brainstew, like you said, very much on form. He's taken the lead 2 races ago. He was 30 points down to Maka. Now, though, he sits at the top of the standings. Like I said, 25 points clear. And if he scores 23 points or more today, he should be crowned F2 champion for the remainder of the season, taking Alex Bidow's crown. Obviously, Alex sort of hung up his crown, took it, and then came and commentated the majority of the season. But like I said, tonight, JA Games is here. We'll see who the camera puts the qualifying spotlight on. It was not too long ago when I think it put it on you in Russia, James. But here we are loading in. It's looking light cloud at most here in Brazil, nice and sunny, so no rain expected here in qualifying, given that there's only one shot, but there's 2 races. You can always see the difference between the two as we just get everyone loaded in, loading the setups for the race, choosing their tires as well.
Yeah, it'll be interesting qualifying. I mean, obviously it's 4 points online. That'll be big for Brainstew off the bat in his quest to basically wrap up the title tonight.
If he picks up those 4 points, it just eases a lot of pressure off. You can see he is there, and it's wavy that it's put us on board with. You can see that the timing tower is jumbling up and down. Brainstew already putting himself up at the top. Striffium right now high on the time top, but it is jumbling around quite substantially here. Track limits, not too bad around this track. As we just get everything set up here, we're on board with Wavy going down towards turn 4. A brilliant overtaking spot with that DRS available now, swinging out of 5. Brainstew's out. Brainstew's retired from the session, so he won't be getting those 4 points.
Sorry to cut you off there. He invalidated out of turn 4, unfortunately. So that's already a massive blow to his evening, because now he's got to work his way through the entire grid.
Absolutely, and you know, if he is not in the top 8 by the end of this one, that's going to be a big problem for him, because he needs, like I say, 23 points. That 4 points could have done him wonders here. Maka is in 3rd right now, so the championship runner-up right now. Looking good. Wavy, though, we're on board with, has just overtaken him on the timing tower. You can see jostling for position with Eric there. Who's going to be first across the line? Looks like it's going to be Ruin. Here we go. Ruin it is. 1:15.8. 2 tenths faster than BTFU. Eric 3rd. Wavy 4th. Maka 1:16.2. 4 tenths off of pole position, but a nice time from him. We've got a few, you know, invalidations there. You've got Jean Henner's freeware invalidating their lap. Brainstew not only disqualified, but he crashed as well. So we'll see what he's capable of doing. We were on board with 4th place finisher Wavy for that lap. But what a qualifying. So Ruin, he picks up the 4 points for qualifying there. All eyes, though, on Maka in P5. He needs to do well here, and right now, he's got a great opportunity to do so, keep himself in this title fight, keep it alive until Abu Dhabi next week. But what a qualifying session that was. Just one shot, and we've already got drama here in F2. Big shout out to our partners, Next Level Racing. If you're looking for a sim racing rig, wheels down on Motion Sim, check them out in the link down in the description below. And also just thank you for watching along over here on the YouTube. Obviously, we stream the APAC and Formula 2 here on a Sunday. Everything else streamed over on the Twitch. But if you've missed anything there, all of the race replays and highlights can be found here as well. With that being said, though, we're moments away from kick-starting Formula 2 action here in Brazil. Not too long now till the feature race gets underway. And the wets there on display in the pit garage. I don't think we're going to be seeing them at any point, at least in this first race, given the clouds look pretty dry. I don't think we've got, you know, any weather reports. There we are. We've got the mediums and the softs appearing now in front of all the pit garages. 19 seconds until we get things start. Brainstew, like you said, James, he's got his work cut out here.
Yeah, I mean, that back row is looking very fast. You got Brainstew and Freeware both back there, so it's going to be interesting to see how both of them can get through this field, because it's certainly not what I expected. But I'm happy, because I think it's going to make it a cracking race. Well,
we've got no time to wait to find out. We have got 5 red lights here on in Brazil, and it's lights out, and away we go then. Ruin, pole sitter, gets away well. BTFU not quite so well. Eric already looking to put pressure on him around the outside as they go side by side. BTFU on the inside of Ruin gets a little bit slow out of there, and Wavy already up into P3 behind them. A lot of cars, and if anyone has a mistake here, and it looks like they have, there is a lot of cars off. Brainstew, well, he's got his way through, but he is damaged. It's Henners and Freeware who have come together there. Striffium as well. We've got a safety car already. And on Brazil, you've got to accept that can happen in his opening few moments. There's Striffium. He's got no damage on his car. Managed to navigate his way through there nice and safely. Freeware, well, he has got a bit of damage on that front wing. A fairly big chunk of it missing, as well as Henners there. Let's have a look at Brainstew's. Is he just missing an end plate? Because he could soldier on. And he is just missing an end plate, so he could keep going here. He has already made 3 places up, the biggest positional gain of anyone on the grid. Ruin, BTFU, they held station in 1 and 2. Wavy got past Eric. Jose Manuel, he's up 1. Past Maka, who drops not only to Jose Manuel, but to Polypunk too. Polypunk getting past Maka and Noel, who drops down to 8th place. Moen stays P9 ahead of Domi. And then there's no movers there. We've got Angel Arias in 11th. Linus in 12th. They're all staying in the same position as well. Williams got past Helium. Jean, he's up 2. He's ahead of 4 doors to Dan, as well as, I do believe, Striffium. Although, I can't tell, Brainstew's up 3. So he will be happy with how his race starts. Striffium down 2, but he did avoid damage, so he'll be happy about that. Eric coming into the pit lane here. Freeware Hands will probably be following him as well. Brainstew is too, so he's going to accept the 1 place loss because he knows it's only going to be... Oh, he's picked up a 5 seconds! That is huge. This has not been his evening, JA.
No, well, it's gone from bad to worse. I mean, obviously, to point out, none of these stops are going to count for the mandatory stop, but they're all getting wing changes. Just to go back to the actual incident that caused the safety car, I was on board with Brainstew, and unfortunately, it looks like Strithium spun coming out of turn 3, and that what's basically caused Brainstew to get up the damage. So there's an unfortunate start for Strithium there, amongst everyone else who was caught up in that. But it'll be interesting to see what they do now, because they've all gone on mediums, and they've still got to make a stop. But I guess it's just a massive reset for them.
Yeah, to be honest, Brainstew still, in all honesty, up a couple of positions. He started dead last. Now he's into 18th place. He does have a 5-second time penalty, though. That is a huge problem there for the Italian.
Yeah. I mean, we'll clear that when he takes his mandatory stop, but he's still basically giving up 5 seconds, which is less than ideal. So he's making tough work of it tonight, Unicorn.
Yeah, and right now it looks like this will, 100% continue on into Abu Dhabi. Plenty of points on the line, though, here in Formula 2. If he has a bad race here, if he can get himself, into that top 8, puts himself in a much better stead. But even if he starts, 9th, 10th in that next race, you could still see him scoring 18th points in that last one. I don't know if there's some sort of problem here with... It's Eric into the pits again.
Do you want to cycle onto mediums again? That's the only thing I could think there, because it's still not going to count for your mandatory stop. In fact, Brainstew's gone in as well, so he's cleared his 5 seconds on the safety car, and he's going to go back on the softs, so...
Well, clearing the 5 seconds makes sense under the safety car.
Yeah.
But for Eric...
I guess he just wanted to run softs at the end, because it's usually the faster tyre. And I think he pitted for damage originally, so it's just cycling back onto those mediums.
Well, a very bizarre start to the race here in F2. We've already had a number of pit stops, 2 of them for Eric here. 2 of them for Brainstew. And like you say, just cycling. And, Brainstew getting rid of that penalty as well. Good plan, but he needs to make sure he catches the safety car. He should be able to here. Ruin is the man who will be restarting us. He started first. He's on the mediums. And given that he stayed in front, that's good, news for him. He might get a little bit of a problem down into turn 1. Although, are we going to restart here? Because Brainstew's still way off the car.
Sorry, I was about to say, I mean, I think Brainstew's alright. I think we would have had the notification now, but I thought he might be touch and go with catching the pack. But looks like we're having another lap under the safety car. Now, actually, this means people could, in theory, pit, I believe, and have their mandatory stop. But I don't think anyone could actually get any of the tyres to the end.
Well, Moen's going to try it. Moen is in.
I like this call. I like this call a lot. Why not roll the dice? Why not roll the dice?
Well, the only thing I can think of is why you wouldn't roll the dice is if we get another safety car. Not something where, that's unheard of. And if it's a risk to take them from the end from here, he's just throwing himself at the back of the grid. Someone else who's back in Brainstew returns to the pits. His 3rd pit stop in as many laps, so...
Unfortunately, there's no extra points for most pit stops in a race, but you got to like this interesting strategies Brainstew's doing under safety car here.
The problem he has is what happens if it doesn't go around again?
I think it's seriously. I would be surprised if he doesn't come in this time, but he should reach the pack. But it might actually be to your advantage because it'll be coming in with hot tyres and ahead of speed. So
if he catches us at the right moment, he could get 2 places down into turn 1 if he plays his cards right, depending on what happens ahead of him. Might be a little bit risky, but
yeah. That's the other problem. It's how much risk do you want to take? Because we have seen a lot of interesting drama in F2 series this year, and you sort of have to pick your battles, pick your moments, and Safety car is in this lap, so Brainstew should make it.
That's
Especially
cool.
if it depends on what Ruin does for a restart as well. If he really slows the pack down, then it's going to be easy. But as soon as just waiting for that safety car to get in.
Well, things are bunching up. The safety car into the pit lane. Brainstew miles off, it has to be said. And things are really bunched up. Here he goes. We are away again. Green flag racing will resume once we cross the line. And Wavy is right on the gearbox of BTFU. And Jose Manuel is on the rear of Wavy. As we go down into turn 1, Ruin. Great safety car restart here from him. The medium's not costing him any time. Striffium, four-door sedan. Well, Stress just gone a little bit too deep there. Gets past, gets back, overtaken. Again, there's an end plate flying off of somebody. Not quite sure who. Jean appears to be round.
No, it was Domi hit the back of Nolan spun. And I assume John got caught up in that, but that's unfortunate for Domi. As we continue here in Brazil, with Ruin still leaving from BTFU, Wavy in third. Jose Manuel, who had a wonderful time in Mexico last week, is doing a stunning job so far.
Williams Helium up the inside goes the BWT Race Labs car. Bit of a lunge there, but a damaged car ahead of him. Four-door and Freeware in the Campos there, side by side, and well, it's soft versus mediums here. And it's four-door sedan on the inside. Freeware a little bit stuck behind Williams there, but he's going to get the move done. A little bit of a light tap to Williams. The SMP racing car still holding on though, and here comes Henners up the inside of four-door. Freeware's lost the car though, and Henners has to slam on the anchors to get himself avoiding more contact in this race with the German. Striffium gets past Freeware and takes 15th place. And there goes Williams into the pit lane.
Yeah, it was a lot of entertaining racing there. As Freeware is unfortunately, the loser of all that. We've got Moen. Oh, and Striffium's just been pushed out by Freeware there. After turn 3, Moen's in P15 at the moment, chasing him down. He's possibly net P1 if things play out normally. It just depends whether you can get these mediums to the end from here.
Domi putting a lot of pressure on Striff here as they come out of turn 5. And it looks like he will have this move done and dusted, and he does. He is ahead as they come through 6. Striffium just struggling into that turn 1 braking zone. It's twice now in a row that he has gone a bit deep there into turn 1. Just misjudging the braking point, I think, trying to make some moves. Brainstew, he's still in 18th place, and here goes Freeware, a huge lunge on Eric the Spaniard. Oh, and there is Helium spun on the inside there. So he drops down in the order. That gives a position to everyone behind him. Brainstew looking at Striffium here, and he might just get him on the exit at 12. Look at the drive he has as they come up the hill. Great bout of speed there from Brainstew to get past Striffium. The Canadian now just looking at the rear of the Italian. We've seen him go a bit deep into turn 1, maybe incidentally. Is he going to be able to do it here as well? No, Brainstew holding on well. Striff much nicer into the corner there. Freeware, four-door, the teammates still side by side in the 2 Campus racing cars. And it looks like Freeware will come out on top around the outside into turn 4, and you can see there four-door sedan just slotting behind him there. But so far so good on the safety car restart, with the exception of Jean, I guess Domi and Helium as well. Williams into the pit lane too.
Yeah, it's been a very clean start, and four doors just spun unfortunately out of turn 7. Wow, so that's put him at the back unfortunately. But I was about to say it's been clean racing. There's been a few people unfortunately being caught out by the lively rears of these F2 cars, but what racing so far? And Freeware and Hannah's have made some good moves to get up into P10 and P11, and Freeware's had a bit of an adventure getting there.
Yeah, Brainstew not too far at the points either now, as he looks for Eric. As Wavy hops into the pit lane ahead of them. Here goes Linus, is going to get Unhell as they go down the start-finish straight, but it's Brainstew. Domi defends the inside to defend against Eric, and Brainstew stuck behind the pair of them. Eric is around the outside looking for Domi. Brainstew wanted Eric, but instead Eric gets Domi, and Brainstew's just stuck here. He cannot find a way past as they come now out of turn 3 Brainstew on the inside of Domi. Domi's carrying a lot more speed as they go down the straight. Brainstew risking it, making it 3 wide. Both drivers are back past Eric. It's Brainstew on the inside of Domi. Domi carrying more speed. And I think it's just about done and dusted for everyone. Domi's super wide there. Brainstew holds on to P11. Eric gets a bit too close. Has to lean off. And oh, there's big contact between Moen and Eric. Eric slides out into the off track. Looks like he's damaged. I think he's just about kept it out of the wall. Very, very nice stuff from him. Moen just pointed his nose in there. Don't think he should have done that. Needed a bit more patience. No point of putting 4 cars into a corner where really you don't want 2 cars. A massive desync for Noel there, it would look like. As he's sliding all over the place. Angel gonna take advantage of that up the inside, coming out of 13 and up the hill onto the start finish straight. Maka, he becomes into the pits up behind Jose Manuel and BTFU as well. Soft runners now getting over the tires. Strift side by side with Jean. Oh, and there's a big crash. There is a massive incident here with Jean and Striffium, and that is our second full course caution. It's just a VSC. That is absolutely monumental here.
Wow, I actually didn't see that. I was just watching Noel overtake Angel again, but it looks like that switched back. I mean, I don't know what to say about the Striffium incident with John. I mean, that's unfortunate for both, obviously, and it's just unfortunate. You know, it's the full safe. Is VSC at the moment, or is it full safety car? VSC. Okay, so obviously
BTFU's got a drive-through.
Oh my word. Also, I think to note is you can't actually serve your mandatory stop under VSC. So if anyone was in the pits, I think it basically means you have to do another stop. I think we're back racing again now.
We are indeed. Green flags back here, and we are once again out of those virtual safety car conditions as we climb up the hill here on board with Noel. I imagine he's going to be coming in this lap, and he does, and he'll be followed by Linus as well there in the Uni Virtuosi. Now we're getting into the nitty-gritty. We're halfway through. We are Noel 5 seconds for speeding in the pit lane.
Yeah, this pit lane's catching out a few people with the old speed limit, so I don't think people realise it's slower than
Brainstew 3-second penalty.
That's the first actual 3-second penalty of the day, isn't it, Unicorn?
A quick look though. I don't know. I think it is. Oh, apart from Wavy. Yeah. Wavy looks like he's had one as well at some point. So second, but most people keeping it clean.
Yeah, everyone just sees for the pit lane that's taken everyone by surprise today.
Yeah, and I do believe Jean just served one for collision with Striffium. Or maybe Striffium got one as well. I'm not quite sure there which way around that has happened. We can see there that Domi's gone very wide, and Moen's having a bit of a slide as well. This is all in the points as well. Brainstew, when he does have that 3-second time penalty, it might cost him if he starts getting some moves done on the people in front of him. But right now behind, he's clear on that penalty. So Brainstew, this race has been about damage mitigation. He needs to keep pushing, make sure he's in this top 8, gets himself in a good position on that reverse grid, and well, there is fastest lap. So pick up a point for that as well if he's able to retain it. And if he has to come in again, well, we'll see how that goes. Eric, Moen, they're side by side. The BWT Race Lab car around the outside of turn 1, up the inside into turn 2, secures P8 for now. There's going to be a bit of a drag race now down into turn 3. There's a bit of a bustle going up ahead as well. I think that one is done and dusted, but here's Eric and Moen. And Eric back through on Moen, and I'm just all over the rear of him. Can't find a way to put the traction down to get back past. Henna's on the inside of Angel Arias here. He is just there a little bit wide. Does this open the door for freeware? Angel's back through. The German, though, not able to capitalize on the Englishman's mistake. And now Henna's looking to blast back through on the inside of turn 10. Freeware's looking at all of this. Henna's is in P3. He's into the podium finishing positions. Angel, big lockup, has to avoid Henna's. And that is the door open for Freeware. And Brainstew's looking at all of this. He's ready and waiting as well to try and sneak some positions in. He's just got DRS on this fight. This is helping him extend his gap behind. It's going to help him try and gain a few more points as well. Wavy with a disconnect, it would seem. Freeware up the inside of Hennes into turn 1. Great move from him. Domi's into the pit lane. And who is that? It is Stryfium off on the inside of turn 3. The Canadian is not having the best of evenings. Here goes the Englishman of Hennes on Freeware. And a great move there on the Campos Racing car. Does Angel get through as well? Brainstew as well, and Junie joined the tussle here. He's going to back out though as they go down into turn 6. Fast right-hander. Don't really want to make it any more wide than you have to, but Brainstew on the inside as they come through into turn 8. Great move. Can he hold it around the outside of 9? He just about is still ahead by about half a car's length. There he goes. Angel going to try it on the inside of 10, but he won't get the drive. And Brainstew up into P5. Angel's got a penalty as well, so that is a position for Brainstew that he will keep at the end of this race.
Yeah, I mean, wow, what racing there between Freeware, Hennes, Brainstew, and Angel. I'm trying to figure out if Hennes and Freeware need to pit again. Because if they do, Brainstew is actually now the net leader. In fact, as I say, that Hennes is at the pit lane. So Brainstew could be on for another win here after all the drama of this race.
Well, if Hennes is pitting now, Brainstew has to come in as well as Brainstew. Freeware, sorry, picks up a 3-second penalty ahead of Brainstew. But if Hennes is coming in, then surely Freeware and Brainstew both have to pit before the end of this one.
See, that would be my understanding too, but you just don't know. You might be trying to stretch it out. 8-lap hold tyres on the mediums. It'd be very touch and go, but I mean, at this point, does Brainstew feel it's the only thing he can do?
Well, we'll
it's
see.
It's going to be an absolutely fantastic end to this race, Unicorn. Sorry for cutting you off there.
No, I agree. It is going to be a spectacular, final few laps. You've got Hennes in P12, so he's on the fresh shots. If Brainstew has to pit, he's got to really do it now, so he could go down there and start clawing up some positions. If he finishes P8, I keep banging on about it, but he will start pole. If he starts ahead of it, he'll get more points. He needs points. James, he needs points in this. Maka, well, we look at him. He's in the points. He's P10 right now, so he is doing what he needs. So there goes Freeware. He's blinking. He is going to follow Hennes in. Brainstew's staying out, though, so he is either he doesn't think the sauce can go to the end from here comfortably, or he's doing what you say, and he's doing a little bit of a gamble. We like to see, an unorthodox strategy. Here goes Polypunk. He's going to get helium. People are getting off of these mediums. For Brainstew, though, is it the right call to stay out? We won't know until it's done and the end of things. The pit lane has been a busy place this race. Brainstew's already visited it twice. Here goes BTFU steaming around the outside of Linus as they come onto the start-finish straight. But so far, so good in this F2 race. It's been action-packed. But this has been absolutely crazy. And also worth pointing out, in all of that, Stryfium did retire his car in the pit lane. There was a crash there. It was for, I think, BTFU. It was. BTFU just sort of spun there. And he has got damage from hitting the wall. And Freeware. Oh, who is that into the wall? I could have sworn someone was into the wall there, but it doesn't seem like it on the camera, so...
I haven't seen anyone.
My eyes
that was
deceive
unfortunate
me.
for BTFU, I know that much, because he was running really well at the start, so very disappointing for BTFU there. And we're getting time to the business end. I actually do think Brainstew's... Oh no, he's in the pits. I was about to say he's going for it, but he's in the pits. So that solves that mystery, Unicorn. He is going to pit for those softs and see if he can get into that pivotal 8th spot for the sprint race pole.
Well, this could be, transformative in the race. Here's Hennes. Brainstew, the light blue dot in the pit lane that you can see there. It's going to be close between these two. The overcut here might have actually worked a little bit. Where is the Italian, the Englishman? They're pretty much side by side. Brainstew, he should appear here on the left of our screens. And there he is. He's just the Hennes ahead by a car length. So the undercuts worked for Hennes. But for Freeware, he got caught up. Polypunk, Rune, he started on pole. He's now on the fresh softs. The cars around him, well, can they go to the end? It seems, a bit touch and go. But at this point, they might have to risk it. The point is
Moen...
here, though, is that Brainstew in a great place.
Oh, definitely, definitely. It's worked out for him well. He's just got to try and use these slightly fresher tyres to try and get around Hennes.
The one problem he does have is Macca, James. He's in P5 right now, and he will be going to the end quite comfortably.
Yeah, that's it. Macca's definitely needed this result to keep this championship battle going.
Where goes Brainstew? Around the outside.
I mean, Macca could end up with P3. If Eric and Moen have to pit, then Macca's going to get a podium out of this, so he'll be ecstatic with that result, I'm sure, if it happens. I'm just on Noel now. Noel and Jose Manuel are racing down into turn 4, and I think Jose's got DRS he has, so he should hopefully get ahead here. And he has managed to get slightly ahead of Noel, but Noel is doing a wonderful job in P7. This is his first F2 race. The Tier 3 reserve driver is equipping himself well.
And now his teammate for the evening, if your first F2 race, championship leader Brainstew is right on his gearbox. They've got Hennes as well, so a lot of fast competition here on fresh softs too. And Noel, he will struggle here to keep up with these guys on the fresher tyres, but like you say, in a great place. And Noel just sort of letting his teammate by there. Maybe a bit of team orders down in the Dam's garage.
It did his teammate for the evening a massive favour there, and he's managed to hold Hennes up for a few more corners. Let's see what happens here. Brainstew's just trying to get as many positions as possible at this point. I mean, will he be able to get Jose? Maybe. He's got the DRS. He's definitely going to be trying for the final 3 laps. It's just about Brainstew now minimising his loss on this race. To try and, he really, he just wants to try and tie that championship up tonight. And then he don't have to worry about Abu Dhabi or any problems there. But he's certainly not made an easy job of it this evening.
No, giving himself a bit of a challenge, that's for sure. Hennes, Noel, they're exchanging, as is Brainstew and Jose Manuel. And Jose there, a little bit wide. Brainstew through Noel, still ahead of Hennes, doing a very valiant job to keep the car in behind there. Fresh shots for Hennes. Hennes, obviously, Tier 2 driver. Very, very fast driver here in MRL. And he is being held up here by Noel in his first F2 race. So very, very impressive stuff from Noel. Ruin, oh, he's just got past Moen, and Moen here on those old tyres. Are they going to make it to the end of the race? Well, you've got to think that he's going to try it now, as Hennes is now past Noel. I think Noel's had a problem here. Or maybe just...
He got a bit of a slapper out of one of the corners, and that gave Hennes the chance to just slip up the inside. But, that's what I say, these cars are very lively, and this track is very easy to get horrible wheel spin out of corners.
Ford Austin and Williams side by side. And as we come through out of turn 9, a bit of contact there between the Campos and the SMP car. And it is going to be Ford Austin ahead as they come out of the corner. But Williams around the outside, swooping around 11. Holds on to the position for now. Great defensive maneuver from him.
No points on the line, but they're racing for pride and they're racing very hard. You have to applaud them for that. You just have to keep going, just make the best of the race that you've been given.
Absolutely, and here's 3 drivers that are trying to do their best to get into the points here. Domi in P10 guarding that final point. Angel on his rear with a... Oh! Angel into the rear of Domi. Domi veers off the track quite aggressively. Angel looks like he's waiting for the Hungarian, but Freeware will take full advantage of the situation he's just been presented with. And
that was gift wrapped. Another case of a June Christmas for Freeware there to get that easy overtake on two very fast drivers. It's unfortunate for Domi and Angel. I've been watching Domi and Angel last couple of laps battling, so it's a shame that it's ended that way for those two.
Polypunk on the inside of Moen. Apologies for the interruption, just sent it there into turn 1. Very, very clean move for him. Gets past the Welshman.
Yeah, Moen's just got to try and hang on now and see where he finishes. I was going to say Freeware, it'd be interesting to see if you can actually hunt down Noel and take 9th before the end of this, or there's only 2 laps left. This race has flown by Unicorn, it's been very entertaining, and we're into the final laps. Eric has pulled a very good call on the strategy here by the looks of it, and he's got a 4-second gap, so he just needs to hope that he's got enough tyre to the end now.
Well, Jan has just had a problem in the opening section of the Senna S's, and Helium's is retired in the pit lane on the penultimate lap, which is bizarre. We're on board right now with Brainstew, who is looking at the rear of his championship rival. Even if he gets past here, it probably won't mean much. There's very slim chances that he will extend a 3-second gap to Maka here in the final lap, but just again a little bit of racing for pride. If he can overtake him, he sort of sends a message: I am faster than you, I've come for the rear of the grid, and I'm here to overtake you. And here we go, the Italian on the inside here, the Prima Motorsport car side by side as they go into the DRS zone. The Dams driver with the rear wing open. You've got Jose Manuel not too far behind this as well. If he can catch up and fight Maka, then maybe there is a slim chance that the Italian extends his gap to 3 seconds. Let's see. He is on fresher softs than Maka's 10-lap-old mediums, so tyre advantage should be just within his grasp. Maka, though, DRS on the Italian. Very unlikely that Brainstew able to claw a 3-second gap there, and he should drop not only to Maka, but to Jose Manuel at the end of this one too. But like you said, it's been a great race all around so far. Let's have a little look. Jean, well, he calls it quits in the pit lane. Not been a good result for him with that incident early on. We saw it with Striff. Massive crash. Brainstew, he's already put a second between him and the car behind Maka. Jose Manuel, if they battle, this could be very, very bad news for Maka. Also hailing from Wales, I do believe, just as Moen does. But right now, the gap still on for Maka to beat Brainstew here and just claw back a few points in that championship. Bearing in mind, Brainstew, I do believe, does have fastest lap. Ruin wins, I do believe, on penalties. As Maka finished on cut ahead.
That's got room for Eric there. Drove really well, took the gamble on the strategy, but penalties have done him in.
There we go.
Polypump was ended up being third. Moen, I thought, did a wonderful job with he made that call on the strategy early. P4, wonderful job by him. Maka gets P5 on penalties. Jose Manuel, I think that was a penalty, move up to 6th. Brainstew, he had a very entertaining and interesting afternoon so far, and he ends up with a P7, so that's put him on the front row for the reverse grid race. So I don't think he'll be too disappointed with that. Henna's taking pole for that one with the P8. Noel is 9th. That's a good job by the young Swedish driver there on his F2 debut, I believe. Freeway rounded out the point finishers. What an entertaining 20 laps. Those flew by, Unicorn. That was wonderful stuff.
It was a good race. A bit of drama here and there. Driver of the day, no doubt, belongs to Brainstew, with a loss to 7th performance. Here's the podium. And pole to race win for Ruin, a driver, again, I do not think we've seen here in F2, if I'm not mistaken. A very, very strong start to his campaign, if so. A little bit late to do anything in terms of championship, but the Spaniard finishes ahead of his countryman there. I don't believe that's Eric in P2, who got relegated on penalties. But overall, like you say, a great race. Henna's pole position next time with Brainstew alongside him on that front row. So that's going to be interesting. Two very fast drivers. But there you are. You've got Ruin in first. 25 points go to him. Eric, P2. Polypunk starts and finishes third. Moen ahead of his fellow countryman Maka, 4th, and Maka 5th. The two Welshmen doing well. Then another Spaniard, Jose Manuel, in 6th, ahead of Brainstew. Got demoted 2 places on penalties, but he picks up a point for fastest lap, so equals Jose Manuel on points. Henna's in P8, means he'll start pole position in the next one. Then Noel in 9th, Freeway 10th, Linus, Angel, Domi, Fordor, Williams, Wavy, and BTFU. Then Helium, Jean, and Striffium failing to finish here. Jean and Striff having that huge collision. Surprisingly retiring neither of them, but both ended up retiring in the pit lane, as well as Helium doing the same thing in the BWT Race Lab car. But do not go anywhere. We have got another race here, a sprint race, slightly shorter. No mandatory pit stop here. And that means it's from start to finish, and it's wet. It is a wet race. We have got the heavens opened here in Brazil. And that's going to make this very, very interesting. We've got Henna's and Brainstew on the front row. It's a pretty difficult to overtake around here in the wet in an F1 car. We've seen there that it's a little bit more open like we were expecting with the F2 cars for overtaking, but with the wet weather compound, which, you know, you only have the wet weathers. You don't have intermediates here, James, so it makes that decision a little bit more difficult.
It does indeed. You know, you either choose wet tyres or wet tyres. You know, these are the dilemmas the drivers are going through at the moment. And I'm looking forward to this one. The sprint race is always entertaining, and this is just adding an extra level of spice. So we're about ready to go.
Well, let's see what the rain dynamic does do to this race. Again, 20 drivers here to tackle Interlagos, a shorter race. But in the grand scheme of things, it might be just as long with the slower lap times that the wet weather presents us. We're still just waiting for everyone to load in here, taking a little bit of a moment. Not quite sure what is holding us up here. But fingers crossed it does get resolved by the king. Sooner rather than later. There we go. Helium, it would appear, was the cork in the bottle there for the session getting started. But it's 5 red lights here on in Brazil, and it's lights out and away we go. Brainstew and Hennes on the front row. Who gets the better start? It's the Italian by a country mile. He is up the inside of Hennes, as is Jose Manuel, who takes the lead on lap 1 here from, I do believe, 3rd on the grid. Great start for him. Behind them, we've got cars side by side. Maka gets through the first few corners as well. So he is on again for points to extend that championship fight down to Abu Dhabi. And there has been a problem behind one of the Campos cars, Jean as well, not having a great start. Again, Ruin, Moen there side by side. Moen there losing out to the Spaniard, Jose Manuel. Brainstew getting back up into the lead of things, and he does need these points. He only scored 8 in the first one. He needs another few here today. Hennes looks at the inside of turn 6, doesn't find it there. And there is a car off, and I do believe that is Freeware, the German, in the grass here on the inside of 6. There are cars just bunching up, trying to let him by, but there's no safety car. So they could have just gone, oh, it's Helium's AI. Striffium as well in an AI mode as well. Jose Manuel, Hennes, they're side by side. You can see them there, sort of covered up by the timing tower a little bit. Eric back in control of his car. So some sort of disconnection problem for multiple drivers. Jose Manuel, Hennes, they're fighting tooth and nail here for P2. And that has given Brainstew a lot of breathing room in P1. Something he did not have at any point. As, oh my goodness, Domi into the wall. I don't know. I think that was Linus there. I'm not sure if that was Linus or Eric, the Uni Virtuosis. It was one of the... It must have been Linus because of the yellow livery, I do believe. And Eric might have been involved as well, according to the in-game penalty system. A bizarre turn of events there, and we are under VSC conditions for the second time this evening. This time, though, it is the end of lap 1 here. Striffium already calling it quits in the pit lane. I don't know whether there's some sort of technical issue on his side that has forced the retirement there, but it is a shame to see the man who is quite often here where we are in the commentary JA games out so early in this sprint race after an unfortunate feature race as well. But for most drivers, pretty clean first lap.
Yeah, I mean, it's wet conditions. Maybe the people were taking it a bit easier. A few people got caught up in incidents, and obviously, unfortunately for Domi, it's caused a DNF. But Brainstew had a wonderful start and exactly what he needed. And Eric's one coming out. No, John's. Oh my word! John's spun in the pit lane and has been disqualified, unfortunately, because of he's been classed as blocking the pit lane. Oh dear! So that just sums up John's day. Unfortunately, he's another one who's had a very tough afternoon of racing. Brainstew just strolling away, unfortunately, and I think it's looking pretty ominous at the moment when you say unicorn. Just it's not what you do not to give Brainstew this much space.
Yeah, breathing room at the front is what he wants. Behind these two, when we're on board with the battle for P4, we've now got a three-way battle down into turn 1 here. And all on the inside, Angel Arias just getting a little bit sideways, catches the car, but that is going to compromise his exit. You can see Jose Manuel off the track, and as a result, Angel goes into the rhythm, and there's Moen trying to find a way around the outside. There wasn't a lot of space there. Manages to back out of that one, but there are 5 cars going very quickly into turn 4. And my goodness, I'm surprised they're all pointing in the right direction. Very nicely done. Noel looking on the inside of Polypunk, and he does find P8. So a great move there from the Swede to find his first position of the race. Swift just came across in chat and has said he is having wheel difficulties. So the retirement there as a result of IRL issues in terms of mechanical failures. You hate to see it. It's happened multiple times across various different divisions, various different people. Always hate to see it. And, Swift, not immune to those. So unfortunate here for the Canadian and unfortunate for Hennes, who is way off the track.
Wow, I don't know how Hennes got out there, but he's lost his points positions. I saw what this Angel's got to move on Jose now down the main straight. And I think he's got it done. I think Jose got a bit loose, and Moen's coming in now. He's got a great rate of speed. He's actually going to try for a 2-for-1 deal here. Who's going to break into the? No one's giving. Oh my word!
Jose's far too late.
Oh my word!
Moen into the front wheel of Angel. There's a massive slide. Someone's hit the center of Moen's car there. He was just crossed the racing line. I think it was Angel, and it is there. You can see him. A big mistake there.
Was a big loser out of that. Sorry to talk over you. Angel was a big loser. He ended up being spun, and he's down in 13th now. I mean, my word. That's 2 laps in a row through the center rest. We've seen cars everywhere. Unfortunately, this time it didn't all sort itself out. But BTFU has snuck out through all this and got past. We've got Freeware now having to move on Moen for this final point. Moen holding on at the moment, but will Freeware get the move done into this tight section too? Moen's gone a bit wide. Freeware's gone for the switch back on him. Moen's trying to keep it. I think Moen's been spun. Yeah, Moen's been spun and he's caught with Polypunk. The Freeware's got 8th and Moen's unfortunately been spun. And that's him and Polypunk taking out this battle.
Once again,
what action! Half a lap. Fantastic.
Moen just getting caught up with the car, trying to defend a place and just getting past, sticking his nose in, not working out. Linus Keck dips very, very wide here as Williams goes up his inside. Linus damaged there, huge amount of that front wing missing, and as such, struggling for traction out of 12, and he's very done well there not to lose the car. But my word, what a start here.
Ready the money, so to speak, today with this weather. I mean, these cars are pretty hard to control in the dry conditions. Very, very, very happy to snap round on you in the wet. You definitely have to be very, very cute on the loud pedal.
And Moen up the inside there gets a pretty easy move on four-door sedan. Linus into the pit lane. BTFU on the rear of Hennes. Hennes hasn't had the greatest start to the race, but he's back in the points. BTFU, they're up 10 places. We can see, obviously everyone's on the wet, so they need to know the tyres, but look at the difference here in terms of where everyone started this grid. No one is where they started. There goes Polypunk on the outside of Angel. Can he find a way back past the Spaniard? Looking for it on the inside of 6, won't find it as they come out through 7 and into 8. So Polypunk up into 10th, but only points for the top 8 is worth pointing out. So only the top 8 drivers will score points, and right now, well, the top 3 running away with things here. Maka, he needs to score 23 points Bracer, needs to score 23 points in order to beat Maka. He scored 8. You get 18 for winning this one. And if my math serves me well, that would mean he would score 26 and would be F2 champion if this all gets wrapped up here and now and finishes like it is. We've still got 8 laps to go. And that means, plenty of action can happen. We've seen it already, JA. The opening laps of this race have been action-packed, to say the very least.
Yeah, I do not see this letting up at all. I mean, it's a lot of action going on. I just want to point out Knowles in P5 at the moment.
Well, there's some action right there. Williams getting a bit skew with, causing Angel to take some evasive action.
Yeah, what a battle these three are having. I mean, Polypunk and Angel have both been caught up in incidents to put them back here, but they're trying to fight back. We still could have a safety car at any moment. You just don't know. This race could get turned on its head very quickly.
And it is Polypunk ahead of Angel, ahead of Williams still. Williams with a penalty. Only Henderson Freeman, the only other drivers on the grid with them. Let's have a quick look at that. Henna's 13 seconds. Freeware 5 seconds. And Williams just the 3. So not too bad there for the SMP. Eric and Wavy, they exchange. And it's Wavy's AI card, I believe. Some sort of connection issue there for him. Noel looking for Jose.
Yeah, he's stalking him now. He's hopefully going to get a move into turn 1. It's just going to be about whether he can brake later. We've already seen Jose is last of the late breakers here. Noel probably doesn't... Well, Noel broke first, but unfortunately for him, he didn't force Jose into a mistake. But Noel's got a nice run now at turn 3. He's going to hopefully have a shot down to turn 4. Obviously no DRS in wet conditions, so he's got to use the slipstream. And he's got to get very brave on the brakes to make this work in turn 4, and he backs out probably wisely. Can try and self and move again in the main straight, but Noel is definitely stalking Jose at the moment. He seems to have more pace. It's just about whether he can get the move done.
Angel gets past Polypunk for P9. Again, no points there, and it seems unlikely that points will be scored for him. Ford Sedan into the pit lane. Causes him to jump down. Freeware got Henna's as well for P6. BTFU on the rear here. Well, he was, as he sneaks up the inside there. Henna's not really got too much pace to be able to control that. Lap 7, we're halfway through. Polypunk, Angel. They exchange as Angel goes very wide. And he drops down. Williams picks up another penalty, so he goes to 6 seconds now. Next to his name, Noel. Well, he's trying to pressure Jose Manuel here, but he's got Freeware on the rear of him too. We'll see what the Swedish driver can do about this. Brainstew almost in range to lap Ford Sedan after just 7.5 laps here, if that.
Yeah, Ford's had a few incidents, unfortunately, but he's still going. You know, if he can just stay on the lead lap and he gets a safety car, and then it's reset and he can go again. Try and get a charge on, but at the moment Brainstew is just pacing this field. I mean, you got once again, you just got to tip your hat to him. With these F2 cars, he's pretty relentless at times.
All credit to Maka though for doing exactly what he needs to do to try and keep his championship hopes alive. Going into Abu Dhabi, he's trying to keep up in those high points. A little bit of Constantina here down for the battle for fourth. Jose Manuel, Noel and Freeware all giving each other a little love tap to the rear there. Angel as well on the rear. Polypunk, can he find a move into turn 8? No, he is not going to lunge it there. In the wet weather conditions, obviously a little bit less predictable in the braking zones than in the dry. So everyone just having to be a little bit more cautious as to how they apply the pressure. Brainsuit, well, there's another point for him. He got fastest lap in the first race. So no reason for him not to keep it here in the second. Here goes Noel looking for Jose Manuel. Freeware on the rear of all of this as well. He well and truly has the popcorn here. He goes to the outside. Noel is side by side with the German. They were both looking for Jose. Neither of them find it, but Jose very, very deep here. Where is he going to rejoin? Because Freeware, well, there's Jose just completely cutting the jack. Would be very surprised if he did not pick up a warning for that. And now Freeware going to breeze by him. So nicely done there from Freeware to get both drivers.
Yeah, very well calculated and measured opportunistic move there by Freeware. Gets Noel and Jose. Jose spun.
Oh, Jose into the wall. And if he'd have bounced off at a different angle, he would have hit BTFU there, but did well to sort of control the car after the crash. Angel, Polypunk, they're side by side, and Polypunk on the inside doesn't get through on the Spaniard.
Yeah, so still some great racing going on here. So unfortunately, so it's not for points, but Angel's just spun. Oh no. He's spinning right across the track, right into where Polypunk is, but he manages to get together and not cause a bigger accident. So Angel having another adventure here today, and he picked up a 3-second warning out of all that for the sake for the whole scenario. But unfortunately, like I said, no points on the board for Polypunk or Angel at the moment with their battle. It's interesting now if BTFU can get in past Noel. He's dispatched Jose obviously with the spin from Jose, but BTFU's had one of those quiet races that's sort of gone unnoticed, but he's picked up 11 spots. He's driving very well, and he could end up with maybe a P4 if he plays his cards right here.
Yeah, and you see there, Ford also Dan's just gone off the track. He's just letting by the fast runners. BTFU included in that yellow flags left, right, and center here as we come out of sector 1. Lap 10 of 14. Not too long to go now for these drivers. A lot trickier in these wet conditions than the feature race was in the dry, but that's all part of the parcel here. The dynamic weather always going to give the roll of the dice. Angel looking around the outside of Polypunk now as they go down through turn 4. They're still side by side as they exit. Polypunk a little bit shaky as he tries to get the power down a little bit earlier, and it might have just worked out for him here. It hasn't. He drops back into P10 as they come into turn 6. And no points down here.
Putting on a great show. There may not be any points, but it's pride, and they're just putting on a wonderful show for us. You gotta love that. I don't think this is over either. These two are gonna go to the end.
Yeah, up until one of them, you know, unless one of them spins out here, and Angel, well, he has had that quite a fair few times here this evening. I'll be hoping not to repeat history if he can avoid it. Jose Manuel, BTFU seems to have had a problem here. As he drops
spins,
down.
He span out of the final corner, unfortunately. So that's ruined his plan for a potential 4th, but it's still in the points. He's still got 5 seconds on his nearest rival, Hannes. But it's getting quite difficult now. These tyres are getting towards the end of the life. That doesn't help matters. So I think Forza Sedan's just pitted for, I guess, another set of wets. Maybe he's just going to take a fastest lap, even though I don't think he'll get credited with the points for that. But he'll give himself something for to hold on to for this difficult sprint race for him.
Polypunk looking on the inside of Angel. Is he going to find an Angel with a little bit of a lock-up? Means that Polypunk does find a way up the inside of the Spaniard. But there goes Angel, hammering down out of turn 5 and secures P9 again, holding on to that position. It may not be for points, but like you said, it is very much for pride. And Freeware on the rear of Mackenow has caught the Welshman pretty quickly. A little bit of a light tap to the rear. Brainsuit, another fastest lap for him. Freeware completely trapped here, it would seem, behind Macca. Let's see what sort of pace advantage she has here. There's again contact between the two drivers. Freeware, so much more pace, trying to find a way past Macca, not giving him any more room than he needs to. And there goes Freeware. Macca won't be too annoyed about this. Freeware does have a 5-second penalty, but Macca does not have to worry about Freeware a little bit deep. Is this going to cost Macca a little bit of time? And if Noel comes into it, it could cost him some very, very important points here.
Yeah, I mean, that's the bigger issue for Macca, like you say. The actual Freeware issue's not really there at the moment, unless Freeware can get 5 seconds. He's got 2 laps to do that, but Noel, same penalties, and he looks hungry. Hungry for that 4th place.
And so here goes Polypunk and Angel once more, side by side, this time out of turn 3. As they come down, Polypunk back up into 8th place. We'll see whether he can hold it as they come down. The outside of turn 4 has been the favourable place to be. And it looks like that is the favourable place to be once again. And I'm going to look for it up the inside of 5. And he might have just found it as well here. Side by side, there he is. BTFU 5-second penalty. Won't affect these two too much, especially not Angel, who's got the 3 seconds. He's around the outside here as they come on a 7 up the inside into 8 here. And still, they are not letting one another go. Side-by-side action continues here. Angel poking his nose up the inside. It tries to find a way past as they come out of turn 9. And he does stay ahead here of Angel. And a great move to just hold on. It is going to be just who is ahead.
Angel's coming back. Oh my, this is absolutely fantastic racing. I mean, this is in the wet, and these two are going side-by-side in some very tricky corners.
Macca and Noel doing a similar
fantastic
thing. And Noel there, getting ahead of Macca. And like you said, this is for points. And for Noel, well, he's just here for the individual points from this race weekend. For Macca, he's here for points in the championship. Losing out here could be a bit of a problem for him. And that is an understatement because Brainstew is in first and has fastest lap. So Macca needs to do something to respond here.
It does. Just to point out, Noel does have 2 warnings, so he just needs to hold on to, well, he needs to just stay in those lines in these last couple of laps, and then that P4 looks like it's going to be his. What a drive. There's been some great drives here tonight. Maybe not all of them for points, but I just noticed Polypunk is now actually in the points, so I don't know who dropped back there. It's like Hennes.
Hennes has had a tough evening. He was in the pits not too long ago. And I think just trying to, again, damage mitigation. It's been the story for some people. Here we are on the last lap of the race. If you're the leaders, only the front two, I think, are on the lead lap. Eric has left the session. He DNF'd, I do believe, in the pit lane. Yellow flag there, and that is Hennes' car. He is just trundling at the side of the track so as not to cause a problem here, but he has really struggled in this sprint race. Lap 14 of 14, and Brainstew the man to beat all evening, and he's continuing that until the checkered flag, it would seem. It's coming out to a few back markers, but as long as they don't hold him up, he should be all good.
Yeah, it's some good racing going. I mean, it's Angel going to get Polypunk again. I mean, this is literally for the final point now. They've been fighting for pride, and now it's for an actual point. And Angel is a bit too far back on Polypunk at the moment to make a move. In what's been a very favoured spot for these two. They've had a lot of battles through this into Sector 2, but it looks like maybe Polypunk has bested him here.
Well, Brainstew, this is what we believe to be the championship winning drive. Little bit of a loss of traction across the line, but it is Brainstew, the Italian. A great result for him after a terrible qualifying. He wins here, and we do think he is F2 champion. Ruin gets P2. A great evening for him as well. Pole, first place in the feature race, and now second place in the sprint race. Freeware, third place on the track. Noel will pick up his first ever podium in F2. A double podium for the Dams, first and third. Maka gets Freeware as well, so fourth place for him. He lost it on track to Noel, gets it back on penalties with Freeware. Jose Manuel, he gets sixth place. BTFU seventh. Polypunk here will finish ahead of Angel by quite some time. Angel struggling on that last lap. He's got a penalty as well. That won't cost him. Moen will come home in 10th place. Linus, he will be the last person to finish on the lead lap. Everyone else has been lapped by, at the very least, Brainstew there. But my goodness, a great evening for racing. And we do believe that Brainstew is the new F2 champion, leading on from Alex Biddo last season. A Spaniard won it last time out. It was between the Welshman Maka and Brainstew. Just 2 rounds ago, Maka was leading by 30 points. However, today, Brainstew leaves, and if he scored more than 23 points, he will be champion. Before, of course, any post-race penalties he may have picked up, but as it stands, let's have a look. Here are the podium celebrations, and Brainstew will be right to be dancing there if he is, of course, champion. Ruin alongside him, the Spaniard. What an evening it's been for him on what I do believe was his debut as well. And Noel too, another debut driver who's impressed us this evening. The Swede alongside his teammate for his first podium in F2 as well. What a great result for Dams, and an even greater result for Brainstew because, well, let's have a look. Has he done it? Of course he has. 25 points there. A great result for him. Not enough to dethrone Ruin, who 41 points, it has to be said. There's only 48 on the table, and to pick up 41 is a very, very impressive result. Brainstew, though, 25. That should just be enough to clinch the title here before Abu Dhabi in the penultimate round. Obviously, the numbers will be crunched properly after the stream, but provisionally, I do believe that the Italian is the new F2 champion. Eric, well, it's been a great season for him all season long. 18 points here just for second place in that first race. Maka, championship runner-up, and it might just be the way it finishes here for the Welshman. He scores 18 points, 10 in the first race, 8 in the sprint. Polypunk, he scores 16 points for 5th place. Moen gets 6th, tied with Jose Manuel and Noel, who got his first ever podium in the sprint race. Freeware in 9th, Hennes in 10th, and BTFU, the only other point scorer, for finishing 7th in the sprint race. We also had Angel, Linus, Wavy, Helium, Williams, Ford Sedan, Jean, Striffium, Domi, and probably a couple more drivers that I don't think we got to see there. But overall, a great evening of racing here in the F2, James.
Oh, it was wonderful. I mean, if Brainstew has secured the title, I mean, congratulations to him. He has, like I said, at times absolutely commanded these F2 races. He's been absolutely on it week in, week out. And yeah, I mean, wow, some great drives tonight and some wonderful action. Congratulations to Noel for getting his first podium in F2. I mean, wonderful to see him up there. But there's been some really good driving and some going back to the feature race, some really good strategy calls or risks taken by like Moen and Eric to maximize their results in that race. And I mean that second race in the wet, hats off to everyone who finished that because it's difficult. There was some great races, some side by side racing in places you would not do that in the dry, never mind in the wet, between Polypunk and Angel, which is definitely a highlight of the end of that race. So yeah, wonderful time. I hope everyone enjoyed it.
Yeah, absolutely. A great evening of racing here in Brazil. And that does wrap up the action here around Interlagos for this season of the Misfits Season 4. Well, it's about a week from being over. We have got, obviously, the final races for all divisions here this week in Abu Dhabi. That kicks off on Tuesday on the Twitch channel. Steffiam and Alex Biddo will be taking us for Tier 3 over on Twitch, so make sure you're followed over there because it will be very, very action-packed, as well as subscribed here for the highlights and, of course, race replays alongside track videos, etc. But that's all from us. Thank you all so much for watching. As always, a massive shout out to our partners, Next Level Racing. If you're looking for a sim racing rig, wheel stand, or motion sim, check them out. Link is in the description. And make sure you're in the Discord as well, because we are giving away one of their FGT-Lite rigs. The giveaway is free to enter, and all the details are there in our Discord. So make sure you're joined there for a great community as well. JA, thank you, of course, for filling in for Alex Biddo. A pleasure as always. But that wraps up F2 action. Like I said, Tuesday we'll be kicking off Abu Dhabi action. We'll be back same time, same place to round out F2. But plenty of action between here and there. Thank you all so much for watching. We'll see you next time.
We are back. We are back with some Tier 1 action.
And that is the AlphaTauri of Adrian straight head on into the Red Bull. And the Kai Bacchini has joined the party, and he's on these medium compound tires in the Merc. Is very late braking from the Ferrari. He locks up and he blocks Zamis. And who is that? That is Jean with a fantastic exit, and he is going to get ahead of both of them here. So I believe it's crossing the line now, checkered flag. Adam and Bajar in the first two to catch it early. Vettel now rounding the final two turns of 22 and 23. Here in Singapore, the Racing Points collect the 1-2. Battery, there goes Ben the Bear now just ahead, taking the checkered flag, coming through the Casio triangle. It's still wheel to wheel between these two. Mick out with a great traction. Oh, what a run out of the chicane, and he gets it done. How's the exit for the Ferrari? Good so far. You can see wheel to wheel coming down the straight into turn 4. It's the Ferrari leading through. Ben, wheel to wheel now with Revo, and he has so much pace in this Racing Point right now. It's wheel to wheel between these two. How's somebody gonna go? He's drifted off. Does the exit? What an exit out of the Williams. Does he get him? There's a big snap. Jake looking on the inside of 8 and 9. It's the Mercedes coming around the outside of 9. Does he get this move done on Tim? This is huge. This is absolutely massive. A drag race coming through 10 now down into 11. Here we go, and Zamis has the popcorn.
So Yukio tries to turn in, and Domi just says,
oh, and the Stars.
Goes for a second.
What a move from the Stars. That is the Renault of Van Putten up the inside of the Williams into turn 1. Freeware's gonna get Yoda. Freeware's gonna get Yoda.
Yoda wins the race!